The next arm we're going to balance is the roll. So that's the roll axis. We need to hold the camera once again, unlock the roll axis. See, it's completely unbalanced because what I have done before is I told you not to leave any space between the motor and my camera. In this case, we actually have to move that. You will have to go to this lock again and unlock it. And now we are able to slide the camera on this rail. So we want to do the same as before, find the spot when the camera is staying in position. See, now it's left heavy. If I push it to the other side, it's right heavy. So we want to find the spot. And once you have found it, you're gonna spin the gimbal and lock it again. If you have balanced the roll axis properly, now whatever you do with your camera, the camera will stay into place, either with the tilt and the roll axis. Nice. We're missing one step. The last axis is the pan axis. Right here at the bottom, I have to do this handheld. I can't keep it on a stand because I need to test it handheld, okay? So we have the last lock here, which we want to unlock. Now the pan axis is free. Make sure you hold your gimbal properly. So back of the gimbal with the trigger and the wheel, front of the gimbal with the monitor. Now you want to spin your wrist to the left and right. And if the camera stays in that position steady, your gimbal is properly balanced. If it's not, we have a lock here on the pan axis, which we want to unlock and slide this arm back and forth. Now, as you can see, this is not working anymore. So in my case, I have to slide the arm almost completely at the back, and that kind of works. So I'm gonna lock it and try again. And I'm happy. I need to tilt my camera a tiny bit higher once again, because everything moves as you're balancing, so you want to do macro adjustments, but it's well balanced to me now. So I simply unlock that and slide my camera to find the perfect spot. There you go, you have balanced your camera and gimbal for landscape mode. What if we want to balance the camera for portrait mode? What I'm gonna do is to lock all the 3 locks of the axis, 1, 2 here, and 3 at the bottom. So nothing is moving. I'm going to undo this lock here. So my plate will start sliding on the rail, because I want to remove this actually, and I'm gonna hold the release button inside there and remove the camera and the plate attached to it as well. Gimbal facing forward once again, like so. I'm going to take my camera tilted vertically with this mount facing down. Lens facing forward like the gimbal. We're gonna slide the mount onto the plate. You will hear the click again. And I'm going to tilt the end once again, and I'm going to lock it. Now what you have to do is to unlock the tilt axis and start the process all over again and do the same thing. So tilt axis, roll axis, pan axis, and you should be able to balance it. Okay, there you go. We're going to learn how to turn on and off our gimbal. And now make sure all your locks are undone. So the gimbal is completely free. Next to the monitor, you will find the power button. We are going to hold it, 1, 2, the Cinepeer text will appear on the monitor. Your gimbal is now on. And it's sturdy, nothing will move. Please do not push any of the motors right now because you're gonna damage the gimbal. We're going to choose the language with this wheel on the side. We'll scroll up and down and you wanna press it to choose your language, in my case, English, and we are ready to go. To turn it off, again, press the power button, 1, 2 seconds, and it will turn off. Let's check the buttons and wheels of our gimbal. On the left-hand side, we will find a joystick. That's how we operate our axis of the gimbal, up and down, and left and right. So we're going to control the pan and the tilt axis of the gimbal with the joystick. We have the rec button. On some cameras, when your camera is connected to the gimbal, you will be able to press this button and start recording videos or taking photos with your camera. Half press in certain cameras, again, is to focus, so autofocus. With a long press, we take a photo, and with the single press, we'll start and stop recording a video. The M button is the modes. So here your gimbal will operate in different ways. We're gonna check them out after the buttons and the wheels section. But as you can see now, we are in PF mode. If I single press the M button, I will go to a different mode and so on. If I double press, I will go to POV mode. If I double press again, I go to vertigo or vortex mode. If I hold the mode button, my gimbal will go to sleep mode, meaning it's not off, but it loses the power in the motors. If I want to wake it up again, I hold the M button. We have already seen the power button. Under the power button, we have the menu button. We're going to click it once to enter the menu of the gimbal. We can change some of the settings in here via the wheel we have seen before. So through the wheel, we can go up and down. With a single press of the wheel, we can change those settings. To exit the menu, you press the menu button again. At the back of your gimbal, we will have a trigger. The default mode of your gimbal will be PF, pan follow mode. Let's go to a different mode, lock mode, for example. If I single press the trigger, I will switch to my default mode. If I double tap the trigger, my gimbal will go into default position. If I triple tap the trigger, I will go to selfie mode. And if I triple tap again, default position. If I hold the trigger button, I will go to go mode. And we're gonna check it once again later on. And if I release, I will go to my default mode. The back wheel is customizable. At the moment, if I scroll, I'm using the roll axis of the gimbal, but you can customize it with different settings also to control your camera. You can change the ISO, shutter speed, and whatever through this wheel. Let's go through the modes. PF, pan follow, meaning whatever I do with my hand, if I turn left and right, the camera will follow my movement to left and right, but it won't move the tilt or the roll axis. Pressing the mode button, we go to lock mode. In lock mode, whatever I do with my hand, the camera will keep facing the default direction of my gimbal, and I can now move it with the joystick anyway. But still, whatever I do, no movements to my camera. Let's go to the next one, which is follow mode. Now, whatever I do with my hand, the camera will be following my pan and tilt. If I go to the right, the camera will pan to the right and left, but also now it will follow my tilt up and down. We're going to hold the trigger button at the back of the gimbal to go into Go mode. Now, Go mode is a very free way to use your gimbal, which is much faster than the usual mode, and the gimbal will still follow your tilt and pan. If we double tap the mode button, we go to POV mode, which is even more free than the Go mode because we're also releasing the roll axis. So whatever you do, your gimbal is gonna follow also your roll axis, the tilt and the pan. If I double tap the mode button again, we will go to vertigo mode. So the camera will be facing up, but in this case, you might wanna hold your gimbal horizontally and move your joystick now, left or right, to create the vertigo or inception effect. And if I double tap the M mode a third time, I will go to P mode, which is portrait mode, which allows me to shoot vertically instead of using the joystick. So it's a quick way to go into a vertical mode. I can shoot upright, but also upside down simply by tilting my gimbal upside down. If you want to use your gimbal in sling mode, underslang, whatever people call it, you simply put your gimbal upside down and you're ready to go. I'm a bit closer because I had to change the camera on top of my gimbal to show you how to connect the camera to the gimbal. My previous camera was too old to be working with this gimbal, so I had to put my Sony a7R III. I'm going to show you how to connect it to a Sony camera. We mentioned before we also add a USB-C to USB-C cable. We're going to use that on this side of your gimbal here. Make sure your gimbal is off at the moment. On the side of the gimbal, right hand side, you will see this USB-C port highlighted in yellow, and we're going to connect the first extremity of the USB-C cable into that port. Now I'm gonna turn my Sony camera on because that's a step you want to do before you connect the cable to your camera. You go to your menu, you go to USB connection, and make sure you set it to PC remote. I'll do that, and I'm gonna turn the camera on and off once again. I'm gonna take the second extremity of my USB-C cable and I'm going to plug it into the USB-C port I have on my Sony camera. There it is. I'm now going to power on the gimbal. On the monitor, I will have a text saying connecting. Now, also the menu here changed on the display. I can read AV f3.5, meaning my camera is connected now to the gimbal. If I press the rec button, my camera will take photos and videos, as we have mentioned before. Okay, how about the app? How do we control and use the gimbal via an app? We need the ZY Play app, which you can find on iStore or Google Play. And that's what I'm gonna look for in my Google Play. So ZY Play app. I'm going to install it and open it up. Make sure you allow all the settings, so location, access to camera, microphone, and to your storage, and so on. Agree to the terms. That's what we have to do. And keep scrolling down and agree. And again, privacy policy. Whoop, whoop, whoop. We are inside. You can scroll through the menu. All-in-one gimbal and camera setting panel and go. You need to look for your gimbal, Weebill 3E. Connect now, try. There you go. It's asking you to activate the location and Bluetooth. So we're gonna do that in our settings, Bluetooth and location access. Press OK and try again, connect now. The device is looking for my gimbal, and it appears right there, Weebill 3E. Click on connection, connecting device. Device activation, we need to activate the gimbal for the first time we're using it via the app. So access to device and location information, click on the gray button and go to next. Activate after login, so we need to sign in, or you can sign up at the top. So you put your email and create a password. You need to agree to the terms and click on sign up. Activation button, and the process has been completed. So I click on the completed button and the enter button once again. And now I'm inside the app. For example, if I click on the rec button, my camera will start recording. If I click again, it will stop. I can move the gimbal with the virtual joystick, with a pan and tilt, but also I can slide the middle button to left and right and use the roll axis of the gimbal. If your gimbal is not calibrated properly, you're facing some problems, then you go to the top right, you will see the settings wheel. You click on it and you can go to 6-side calibration and follow the steps. I'm not going to go through this process because some people complained in previous tutorials, so I leave it to you. It's your responsibility, it's not mine. I'm just showing you the basic setup. If we press on the tiny red camera icon, we can go through different settings as well, like a panoramic mode, and you can choose the A and B point to create that panoramic shot, but also you have a time-lapse or trajectory photography, and you can play around with all the settings. It's a very basic app, but it allows you to access different settings and features of the gimbal. And here we are. You have understood now the basics of your Zhiyun Cinepeer Weebill 3E. I hope I was helpful. If I was, please consider to subscribe. It's a huge support to my channel and it's a kind way to say thanks. Give me a like and I will see you in the next video, and I hope to welcome you in my community. Thanks for watching and enjoy the Weebill 3E.